All right, today we're talking about the WGA strike and the SAG strike, which is the first time that these two have gone on strike together since 1960. Now, the writers were recently able to reach a decision, which is great news for the industry. We're all really excited about that. It needs to be ratified, but no one anticipates that being an issue and going into effect. So let's take it back to the basics so that you guys really understand what these strikes were about.
When it comes to the strikes, the actual reason for this was the use of artificial intelligence. We shot a video on that recently on how artificial intelligence affects us in the sync community.
Yeah.
We'll have a link to that below so you can check out that video. But the other aspect to this particular strike is the residual pay, which is really a result of streaming. When you look at the history of these strikes that have occurred, it's always been on the heels of a very large technological breakthrough, so to speak. You had, of course, VCRs and VHS cassettes coming out, and of course, then DVDs. And then when we got into home video use and then streaming, of course, and whatnot, now streaming has obviously blown up. What really made this impactful was that both of these different groups, their contracts came up in the same year, which is why they both struck at the same time.
So this was a long time coming. So I was on set the other day with my son, talking with the other moms in the room. One of the women's son had been on the set for both Star Wars and Marvel. It would step into this ring surrounded by cameras. They were doing background work. It would scan their likeness, and then they had the right for the entire series. They were just using their likeness, using AI, to fill them in background roles for the entire series. And that's been building up a long time. And like you just pointed out, they finally said, okay, we're up for renewal, time to take action and ask for changes.
And so this is actually a good thing that this has happened, because this is actually really what the music industry should have done back in 2001 before they completely got decimated with MP3s and whatnot. But fortunately, we have smart folks in the TV and film industries that are actually standing up for the creators and the actors and whatnot. So one of the things specifically regarding the SAG strike that's of particular interest to us, they're demanding contract language that protects actors from having their identity and talent exploited without consent and pay. And this is a direct result of the generative AI that Jody was just talking about, where they can actually scan you and utilize your likeness and image, which of course they're 100% against. Now, the AMPTP, their position is that SAG and AFTRA background performers should be able to be scanned. They should be able to get paid for one day's work, and the studio should own the scan, their image, their likeness, and then they should be able to use it for the rest of eternity in any project that they want with no consent or compensation.
It's so crazy. Can you guys imagine if I came to you as a music supervisor and said, we want to license your song and make copies of it and then use it in this TV series or any TV series we create
for the rest
forever,
of eternity,
and we're going to pay you $1,000 and that's it. That's what they were asking?
That's what they're asking, yeah. We support the Screen Actors Guild and the writers, because it's fantastic that they're standing up and setting parameters with the use of AI. The main question that we really want to answer in this particular video, the question that comes up and gets presented to us a lot, is the future of sync licensing dead? And the answer, of course, is far from it. In fact, this is going to take off like a rocket ship. Right now, as SAG is preparing to settle, the writers
are going to start writing scripts.
Right.
So they can start getting back into production, getting ready to produce. Nobody's going to stop making content because the sheeple need their crack.
But I think what's even more important is the lesson that we can learn from this. There's always going to be bumps in the roads with any industry. And in the time that Jody and I have been in the sync industry, we've gone through a couple strikes as well. It's just going to happen. It's no big deal. This was a big one because they both happened at the same time. Last time that happened was
1960. Ronald Reagan was president of the Screen Actors Guild. And after that, what happened?
Another rocket ship. It took off like a rocket ship. Yeah. But as we move forward, there's always going to be bumps in the road. And the thing that we want to leave you with is this one thought. It all comes back to what your thesis is regarding the entertainment industry. And I'm going to give you my thesis, and I know that it's Jody's as well. People will always want, whether it's 10 years from now, 20 years, 30 years from now, they're going to want to be entertained by stories. And as we get more and more addicted to our phones and various visual media, those stories are going to be told visually. Now, the role that music plays is extremely important, because music is what sets the tone and keeps viewers engaged. So my thesis is that people are always going to want visual entertainment. They're always going to want music to always be a part of that visual entertainment. And part of the process of syncing those two pieces of property together is what's called a sync license.
Yeah.
That's not going away. We're going to continue to see a massive boom in the amount of TV shows and films that are produced. There are currently over 2,000 TV shows, throughout the world, currently in production and development. Now, when you go back just 3 or 4 years ago, we were at 500. So this is a massive explosion.
That's just TV. That doesn't include films, commercials, video games, trailers, which some films were impacted by the strike, but commercials, trailers, video games, not impacted by the strike. Although now, yes, SAG is moving towards video games as well. So they're trying to incorporate that into the discussion as well. So
sit down, get ready for 2024. It's going to be an awesome ride.
yes.
If you're interested in getting your songs into your favorite TV shows, films, commercials, trailers, and video games, you're going to want to check out the free guide below.